Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. Who's taking off on Monday? Because everybody has Tuesday off, except for my husband. Get a 4-day weekend. What's everybody doing for the 4th? I'm actually putting together a 4th of July show for us. You guys tell me if you want it to be public or members only. You let me know. Good morning, Connie. Lee's got 4 days off. Hello, Jack. Hello, Crime Story Diva. She says she's off. Nani, hello. Been in here. We've been chatting it up early this morning. It's been fun talking about Sharon's garden, the crazy stuff that the Wells do. Shannon's off Tuesday and Wednesday. Pat's going to have big time fireworks out in front of her house. Grammy Wolf has got 4 days. Slim's got her husband home for the next 5 days. Now, what kind of honeydews do you have for Mr. Slim Shady to do, Slim? Is he going to get to relax in front of the TV, or is he going to be mowing the lawn, cleaning the pool, getting you beer? What does Mr. Slim do when he has that much time off? Bob G says Big Bang Boom weekend. We will take a vote, and you guys tell me how you want to do the 4th of July show, because it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Walking Dead said going to blow some shit up. My husband was driving through Missouri, and he was like, they're basically like giving away fireworks. And I'm like, that's how Missouri does it, let me tell you. Because there's certain fireworks that are illegal in some states. So we've just always known in Oklahoma that if you want to get a hold of some stuff that could blow your hand off, you just go to Missouri. On the radio this morning, they were giving away $500 in fireworks. Also, what we have going on before we get to the elephant in the room is the weather. It is hot as hell. And as you know, we've been struggling with power outages, and I know many of you are doing that right now too. Black Cat said, I am not here. You have not seen me. I'm supposed to be working, but no, Brooks has to go live and ruin my work ethic. Well, that's all we can do. I'm here to help. I'm here to help. Shannon just said it's hot as balls. What the hell? Let's take a second and tell everybody hello and TGIF. Now, time for our weather report, because this heat is crazy. I'm used to it being in the hundreds in August and September. Now, Jinbug is used to it being in the hundreds all year round. She loves that hot stuff. You could bake a turkey on her sidewalk. Usually it goes from like the 60s to the 70s to the 80s. Then it hangs around in the 90s for a while. Then we get the triple digits. Not this year. It's been crazy. Now, this is from our local news.
Another day where we want you to be weather aware, because that heat is just going to be on. Maybe not as hot as it was yesterday, but you still need to stay hydrated. You still need to make sure that you're using protection from the sun. All of that stuff, Michael.
Exactly. We basically have one more day to get through of this high and dangerous heat that we've been dealing with for the last couple of days. Yesterday, we got our first 100-degree day of the season, making it up to 102. Today, we're going to forecast our second with a high near 100. Record high, by the way, for today is 107. I don't think we will be quite that hot this afternoon. And then notice our temperatures back into the low 90s once we get into the weekend. And by the way, as we go into July, our average high is 92. So there you go. Pretty close to what we would see for this time of year rolling into the weekend. If you want to cool off one of the area pools or perhaps take the kids out to one of the splash pads, going to go green check marks here, but do keep in mind tomorrow, I do think we will have a few showers and storms around. We'll probably have a couple chances. We'll have a chance in the morning, and then that will wind down, and then we'll have a chance for more redevelopment as we go into the afternoons. We heat things up, but I don't think it's going to be a washout. So keep your plans, but just keep that extra eye to the sky in case one of those storms does happen to pop up where you are. Not everybody will see rain, but the chance is going to be there. And we'll keep green check marks as we go into Sunday. There may even be a lingering storm chance into Sunday morning, but I think Sunday afternoon will be in good shape. And we're keeping an eye on this morning's temperature. Right now, we're at 82 degrees in Tulsa. And by the way, the record for the warmest low temperature on this date is 80 degrees, and we have not dropped below that yet. Those records, we've actually done that 3 times.
So it's hot, hot, hot. And it's muggy, muggy, muggy. No worries about me wearing socks. You guys know how I'm about socks. Crafty Chris says, I'm working Monday. My 2 coworkers decided to take the day off. Isn't that the shits? That's what used to happen to me when the 4th would fall on a Thursday. Somebody already had Friday off, or when it would fall on a Tuesday. Used to make me so mad. Ugh. Leafy Lou said, it's freezing in Australia right now. I miss hot days. I thought somebody was pulling my leg from the land down under one time. Then I had to go back to my education about how it's flip-flopped. Even your toilets flush different down there. We were talking about Christmas and how cold it was. Several people were talking about it. And one of our friends from down under said, it's hot here. Woo, we got air quality problems. We have a lot of stuff going on. I'm actually going to put a video up on the other channel. If you're not subscribed to it, please do. I will put the link up right now. There you go. Not too long ago, I was complaining about the cold. You know, I don't like to be cold. I would take hot over cold any day. So what's everyone's plans for the 4th? Because as you can see from our local weather, it's going to probably be raining all weekend. So I don't think we're going to see any fireworks this weekend. But we're still going to have a fun 4th of July live on Tuesday. Now, let's get to it. Many of you have reached out to me. We did a members live about it yesterday. I'm going to do a complete live about this on Monday. We have a lot of stuff going on. For whatever reason, Don and Candace Wells do not cooperate with the investigation of Summer Wells. We know this because the local sheriff, love him or hate him, said they're not cooperating. He said that in March of 2022. He has never changed that statement. He has never come out and said, well, now they're cooperating. No, they're not cooperating. The amount of people that don't want Summer found is infuriating. Infuriating. When asked about what Fred said to Ziggy about this guy named Cotton Simpson and the cave behind the waterfall, and she was asked on a live, are you going to contact TBI and see what they're doing? No. Am I supposed to? Well, wouldn't you? I don't think I will. Wouldn't you do it? You've got time to fight with Prayer Garden. You've got time to check on homeless people. You've got all this time. You're worried about the environment. You're worried about pollution, but you don't check in with TBI and say, hey, don't know if you heard this, but one of our neighbors, Fred Hill, he's in the clink for drugs. Seems that's what the grand jury was about. His girlfriend's in there, and he's saying a guy named Cotton Simpson might know something about my daughter. Wouldn't you make that phone call? She can't be bothered. She's got other stuff going on. The other day in a Facebook group, this was put up. This is a Wells supporter. Her name is Robin, and she's got other stuff going on. She's been fighting very hard for justice for her own daughter, but for some reason, she gives the Wells a pass. She says, I do know they don't get high anymore. I do know that they are going to rehab. I do know they do not drink anymore. I have known that, and I have been busy. Now, hang on. You're telling me that Dawn and Candace have kicked decades of bad habits just recently? Because I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. This was sent to me yesterday. Just check this out. I might have to play it a couple of times.
Maybe you have to be quiet.
Baby. Tell me.
Well,
I love you. Love you. I'm back.
I love you. I love you. Over there with her unbroke leg. You don't get taped up from the Walgreens if you've seriously got a broken leg. So the supporters are saying they don't drink, they don't do drugs, and then you hear that. Oh, I love you. And he's like, shh, baby, he got business to do. He got business. He's working hard. He's got to fight with Prayer Garden. Now, also, let me ask you something. If you were in a health crisis, would you want Candace Wells to be your caregiver? Think on this. This is from the channel Dynamite. This creator's actually been in our chat before. Put this up yesterday. It was shared in our Discord, and I just had to share it with you guys. Because if I was on fire, I wouldn't want Candace to piss on me. Okay? Good point, court. Court case said I think it was her stroke acting up. The stroke was acting up. Dynamite did a great job. DT Driver said, when I grow up, I want to be just like Dawn. Really? Really?
Get her ankle better?
well, Candace has got her ankle problem, but my daughter has to do 6 weeks of. I probably shouldn't share this, but I'm going to. But my daughter has infection in her bones, which is normally fatal. But she's got some good doctors on her side. She's been in surgery, and so she's got to go through 6 weeks of infusions or whatever, And so Candace is going to stay here and help her all she can for another.
So Candace is going to stay here and help her all she can. You mean can't? Because Candace doesn't care about anybody but her damn self. Now, Don, unless he's already there, has to go back to Tennessee to check in with his probation officer, even though we were told he's not on probation. He served his time. That's it. He made a mistake. We love Don. He's a great father. He's a great provider. YouTube got his kids taken away. I mean, we've heard it all, right? But now he's got to go check in and probably get drug tested. Oh, that's gonna light up like a Christmas tree. He had a drug dealer at his door not too long ago.
Here and help her all she can for another 6 weeks.
No, even on my last leg. This is a woman who can't keep children, can't keep dogs. We've seen how she takes care of a home. She's married to Dawn. Okay? Now, if this bone infection, which I don't know anything about bone infections, I hear a new diagnosis from these people all the time. Then she needs to rely on medical professionals, not her stepmother can't. So Dawn's had a lot going on, and they cannot be bothered. And I'm not just saying that in jest. These are their words. He cannot be bothered. They can't be bothered with the disappearance of Summer Wells. Okay? They cannot be bothered with that. They've got trolling to do. They've got arguing to do. Here's just a sample of what he decided was in the best interest for the Summer Wells case the other night.
That's what you done did. Blame it on this poor guy right here. A guy that had a family, a guy that had $1,300 coming. And you know, even the Bible says that, you know, if a man does an honest day's work, he deserves an honest day's pay. You call yourself a Christian, Don Wells. Well, you know, why did you steal this man's money that you rightfully owed him and thought you were doing him a favor? Thought you were doing him a favor by giving him pennies when he had a family to take care of also, right? He had a family. And then, you know, you really should have paid him extra because you had planned on using him. You planned on using him in your scheme of whatever went down with your daughter, right? Your premeditated bullshit upon your own child. You are a real sick bastard. You are a real sick fucking cookie. I mean, wow. Your own blood. How disgusting are you? How disgusting are you, dude? You're like the ultimate. Yeah. Oh, and True. And even True's boyfriend, right? They even wanted to bring her boyfriend into it after they said that she didn't like boys. Another lie. Another lie. And poor Hunter. Poor Hunter. They said that he called Candace first. No, Candace texting. I guess he did call.
You're the coward.
On you, you would go to.
You're the coward.
Right? No,
you're the coward. You're building your channel.
I'm out here
because
I'm out here working for Summer.
No, you're not. You're not working.
Her, right?
You're working to build your channel by destroying us.
No, I'm working.
You're a liar.
I am working
you're
to get the right people in the prison. And you know who them right people are?
You belong in prison.
With her that day.
You belong in prison. You belong in prison because you're a liar.
How somebody gonna come up and your daughter when your old grandma was outside watching everything, even when your bitch ass wife
act like you. Well, why wasn't you there? You act like you was there. You don't know shit. You're stupid.
I know what
you're a fucking retard. You're a mental case.
No,
you're stupid as fuck. You're a fucking retard. You're a psycho. You're a motherfucking psycho. You're the biggest dumb bitch I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, well, this is when you get mad, Donald.
Get mad, you dumb bitch. You're so fucking stupid. Fuck you. Fuck you, ho. Yeah, bring it on, bitch.
You're mad because I'm hitting home, right?
No, you ain't hitting home with shit. Then why don't you call TBI, you dumb bitch, like you haven't called TBI 100 times before because you're so fucking stupid. They don't listen to your dumb ass. Only your stupid motherfuckers that listen to your dumbass that listen to you because all you and all the psychos that listen to you are psychos because you're stupid. You're fucking retard.
Donald, why'd you meet up with Lisa for? Why'd you meet up with Lisa?
Man, I don't even know Elisa. That's how dumb you are. You're stupid.
You didn't
Go
meet up for
smoke some fucking weed. Go do some pills. Whatever the fuck it is you do. You're dumb.
Donald, you're telling me more about you right now than you ever.
No. Yeah,
I don't
you know what?
So, hey. But you do. But you do.
I don't. Yeah,
that's why you ain't got none of you drug
I passed all kinds of drug tests.
Piece of shit. You ain't
I passed all kinds of drug tests because you fucking called the law. You called my probation officer and all kinds of shit.
Now, I don't think it was Prayer Garden that called the probation officer. Dawn has been clearly on lives a lot lately. Let's be fair here. Let's be fair. And he's like, I've passed all kinds of drug tests. What does he mean, all kinds of drug tests? Piss, blood, hair? What are you talking about? Everything is always so complicated with the Donald.
Made me go all the way back to fucking Tennessee to pass the drug test because you're a dumb bitch.
Oh,
and I passed that drug. Fuck you dumb whore. You're an old ass whore, and you have nothing better to do than be on YouTube talking shit because you're a dumb bitch.
Go fuck yourself.
You're so fucking stupid.
Fuck you.
Man,
you're
fuck
ugly.
you.
You stink. You stink like a
I
nasty
stink
piece of shit.
because I work.
Oh my God. You're ugly. You stink. You sleep with a nasty piece of shit. And he's still talking to her. He's still going at it. We need to get, who is it? Don King. Don King that sets up those fights for Mike Tyson or Dana White. Put them in a ring. I'd watch it. I'd watch it. Pay-per-view that bitch.
The two of you ugly motherfuckers did something to your daughter, and now you're laying around.
You are doing something to my daughter. You're the one. You're the one doing something to my daughter. You're the one that's hurting our family. People like you.
Fuck you.
No.
You know
what? It is what it is.
Well, nobody's hurting Summer, Donald. They're hurting you.
Yeah, you are. You are.
They're hurting you. They're hurting you.
You are. You people like you are.
Didn't you put in jail, right?
You're fucking a psycho bitch.
Are you afraid, Donald?
You're a psycho bitch. No, I ain't afraid of you. Fuck
hey, Donald,
no.
I know I'm touching.
I ain't afraid of the law because the law's on my side. You're the one that's the psycho bitch.
No, the law ain't on your side, Donald.
I talk to the law all the time. Hey, you're the one that calls the law. They don't even listen to you. They don't even. No, you are. They don't even listen to you.
I don't know.
Because you're so psycho.
Listen, Donald,
you're the dumbest bitch I've ever seen in my life.
Piece of shit.
No, you're the piece of shit.
Listen to me.
No, fuck you.
How can you say Prayer Garden is the dumbest bitch you've ever seen in your life when you're with Camp Cant? Camp Cant supposedly called the foster mother drunk, and Dawn said it's because she had a stroke, and sometimes the stroke acts up. Now, we know that no stroke was acting up. We know she got into the booze. Next, they're going to start telling Yo Mama jokes. Yo Mama's so fat.
I ain't listening to you. You're so stupid. You're the dumbest motherfucker on earth. You need to wake the fuck up. That's how stupid you are.
You know how you like to lie. Oh, Ronnie Lawson.
No, I don't. Well, I've never lied to you.
I know for a fact that Ronnie ain't
never lied.
I know he ain't your uncle, motherfucker. I know you ain't related to
I could have told you that. That's how stupid you are.
You are not related anyway at all.
You're the one who started that shit.
Funny. No, motherfucker, that was you.
Man, shut the fuck up.
That was you, dog face.
Man,
that
shut
was
up,
you.
man. Are you ready to talk sense? Are you ready? Do you give a fuck about Summer? Really? Are you ready to stop your bullshit? Is this about Summer or is this about you?
This is about getting the justice that little girl deserves.
All right, then. You need to shut your fucking mouth, then. You need to shut your mouth.
That did whatever they done to her, didn't even let her have a proper burial, right?
Okay, right. Okay, well.
You're a couple real pieces of shit, ain't you?
Man, I might be a piece of
Really?
shit, but you know what? But
Yeah,
you know
you
what?
are. Yeah, you
But
are.
that
And
makes
I'm
me
glad you
better than
admitted
you.
it. I am
But at least
glad
I'm
you
better.
admitted
Yeah,
it. Okay.
and I'm a piece of shit, but I'm at least
I'm
better
glad
than
you
you.
admitted it, you piece of crap.
Yeah, I sure am,
Mhm.
but I'm better than you are.
You won't ever be better than me.
Hey,
You
a
won't
piece of
ever be
shit's better
better
than
than me,
you.
bitch. Because I don't
Shit.
do fucking drugs instead of take care of my kids.
Man,
I
oh
don't
yeah.
fucking
You
do
just
drugs
sit on
instead
you
of
just
fixing
sit
my
on
home.
here. You
I
just
don't
sit on
do
here.
fucking
You
drugs
sit on here and run your
and give
evil
people
ass
my
mouth.
children
Man, you
because
ain't
I have
nobody,
fucking
Prayer Gardens. You're a piece of
stinky
shit.
ass
Fuck
issues
off,
that you can't
man.
handle, right?
You can't handle shit.
Dude, you've been trying
You're the
to
one going
you've been
off.
trying to sell children
You
since
don't give a fuck about Summer. You sitting here fucking putting her parents down and everything else instead of looking at the real motherfuckers that took her. That's how stupid you are.
they nobody
That's
took
how,
her.
man,
And
fuck
you knew
you.
that.
Really,
Nobody
bitch?
took her.
Fuck
You
you.
knew that,
Then where the
motherfucker.
fuck is? Then where is she?
When
You
you can
dumb,
tell law
you
enforcement
bright
where
ass
she isn't,
fucking.
you know where she is. And
No,
you would
you
tell them where she wasn't.
apparently
Oh, I
you
guess
know
I
where
was
she
the
is.
one. I guess I was
Okay.
the one telling them that you wasn't in the
Man,
woods.
you ain't
and
done
you
shit
were
but
all
built a
right, Donald.
channel.
No,
You're
that
the
was
one.
you, bitch.
You
That
built
was
a
you.
channel. You built a channel off of
Mr.
Summer's
Summers
back.
channel.
That's all
And you
you've
know what?
done.
And I'm
You ain't done
gracious enough
shit.
to let her
No,
big
you
ass
ain't done
ass
shit.
come up there
You're a
and
piece of
fuck
shit.
himself, right? And you haven't
Then-
been back into Tennessee taking
Hey,
shit,
since
motherfucker.
you know,
Your
since
ass
you
was
know,
over in a fucking park, sitting
since
at
you
your
know
ass
so
on there.
much,
You couldn't even go back
since
to Tennessee for your
since
daughter's
you know so
freaking 2-year
much,
memorial.
where is
What
she?
the fuck?
Where is she? Where is she? You know so much.
Wherever the
You're
fuck
so
you put her.
smart.
Wherever
You're
the
so
fuck you
smart.
put her, Dom
Where
Wells.
the fuck is she?
Where the fuck you put her, and like you said, she won't ever be found. But
You're
that's
so
good.
stupid.
Because
You're
you
so
know what?
stupid.
When you're burning in
See?
hell, you'll wish she was found. There
See,
you
if you
go.
was if
Die
you was
easy,
any
Dom Wells.
see,
Die
all you
easy.
can do is run your
You know
mouth
what,
because you're an
Donald?
evil
You
bitch.
ain't got much life left, motherfucker.
Yeah, I got all
Really,
kind of
you
life
don't.
left.
No, you
No,
don't, Donald.
you're
No,
the
you don't.
one.
No, you
You're
don't,
the
dude.
one.
You
You're
got
the one.
very
Okay.
little
How
time.
much
Trust
you
that.
want to bet on that?
Trust
How much
that.
you want to bet on that?
Dude, you have got
How
one
much?
foot in the grave and the other one sliding,
No,
bitch.
you're wrong.
You're an old man. You're an old
How much
man.
how much you want to bet on that you died before me?
You're an old fucking man.
No, I'm not.
Old man, dude.
How much you want to bet on that?
And you about to go.
Do you know how many people? Do you know how many people
You
have
know
said
why,
that
Don
I'm
Wells?
guilty
You know
and
why?
that? No, you're wrong. You're
Because
gonna
God's
die
gonna take
tomorrow.
out of
You're
this
gonna
world
you're
because you
gonna
didn't do
die.
your daughter or your other
I'm
children
praying.
right.
I'm praying
There
to
you go.
God. I'm praying to God that soon you're gonna meet your maker.
You're going to meet
Because
your maker.
I'm innocent.
Oh, you're a Christian and you're going to pray to God someone meets their maker.
Yeah, you are.
You're gonna pray to God
You
that
are.
somebody
Your ass
meets
is
their
in
maker.
trouble now.
God don't
Your ass
listen
is
to
in trouble.
motherfucking
No,
people
you put this
like
on me,
you.
but I'm twisting it back on you.
No,
You're
it
the
is
one who
all on
started it.
you.
You know
Dude,
what? No,
you are
you wait.
sliding-
You
you
wait
are
till
sliding
tomorrow.
straight into
You
hell
wait.
like a
You wait till
snowball.
tomorrow. You
are
will see.
sliding into
You will
hell
see.
like a snowball.
You will find out. You will find
Yeah,
out.
motherfucker, you're
Well,
already
you
dead.
bet.
So he said, wait till tomorrow, you're going to find out. Well, if tomorrow never comes, like Garth Brooks says, because tomorrow never came because nothing happened. More idle threats, more BS, and the chips are falling all around the wells. All of these people that they know very well have gotten into some sort of problem. They're in jail for drugs. They've lost their kids to CPS. If I was Jody Sue and Andy Bernard, I'd be sweating like a whore in church. My sweat would be like bullets. Now Don's getting called back to Tennessee. Woo! I don't know, guys. Something might be cooking. I don't know. Eileen said justice is coming. And we don't know what happened June 15th. We have no idea. What we do know is that Candace has a history of child abuse. Candace has a time gap. Candace keeps changing her story. Candace has made it clear, on 2 occasions we know of, when it was said everywhere, well, on YouTube anyway, that a little girl was found in Jonesboro, Arkansas, that people thought was Summer. She was in no way triggered or bothered by that. She was making s'mores and camping with Kathy. Now we have this from Fred saying that Cotton Hat took her and put her behind a cave in Laurel Park. Well, nothing was going on there. They didn't even tape it off. If there was any validity to that, the police would have been out there. They know better than that. TBI, FBI, Hawkins County, there would be somebody with a badge out there. I'm telling you. She couldn't be bothered with that either. You don't look for something that isn't missing. Okay? You guys remember that day I was doing my show and my husband called and couldn't find his wallet? And I was like, I got to find the wallet. Didn't know where the wallet was. If I knew where the wallet was, I wouldn't have looked for it. See what I'm saying? There's always been something way too sketchy about Candace and her mother for me to look the other way. You would at least be calling the police every day saying, can you put out a press release saying that we're not a focus of this investigation, that we're cooperating or something? Clear us. Have TBI put something out saying you don't suspect foul play anymore? Absolutely crazy. All right, also this week, in the Idaho 4 case, and I'm talking about Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Bushy was in court. State of Idaho is going for the death penalty. The death penalty, my friends. Now, tomorrow we have a very special guest coming on. I absolutely love this woman's show, and she's done a hella job covering the Idaho 4 case. But it's not as simple as what YouTubers are putting out there. It is getting very, very sticky, if you know what I mean.
Brian Kohberger was back in a Latah County courtroom this afternoon where a judge heard arguments from his defense and the prosecution over several issues. Kohberger is the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students in a home just off campus in November of last year. And just yesterday, the prosecution filed their intent to seek the death penalty if a jury finds Kohberger guilty. That's not the only issue that came up, though. News Channel 7's Morgan Romero was in court in Moscow this afternoon. A shorter hearing than expected. Morgan, what did happen?
Yeah, well, Doug, they were originally supposed to address several issues, but today's hearing was a lot quicker than we expected, ended a lot sooner than we had anticipated, and there was quite a bit of confusion in the courtroom. They only took up one of the 4 issues that were on the calendar, 2 motions to compel discovery filed on behalf of the defense rather than all the other issues. So the attorneys, I'm told, are working on these other things behind the scenes, and those include a motion to release grand jury proceedings, transcripts, records, materials, as well as a motion to stay or pause proceedings. A spokesperson with the Idaho Judicial Branch says it's not unusual for attorneys to work on this behind closed doors and do this sort of thing. But the prosecution and the defense do disagree about whether or when certain records should be disclosed to the defense. Attorneys were also supposed to take up a 3rd motion to compel discovery. I mentioned they talked about 2 motions to compel. There is a 3rd, and that has to do with the defense wanting documents related to DNA and the genetic genealogy investigation that the FBI did that led them to Kohberger. But yesterday, the state asked for more time to respond to that ask, and the judge granted it. As for what was brought up in court today, the defense wants training records of officers who did interviews with key witnesses, followed up on tips, collected bits of evidence. But the state says it's out of scope under Idaho rules, and they won't call those officers to testify at trial. They say it's not material to their case. The judge says he'll consider arguments from both sides on this. He'll look at case law and then make a decision. Kohberger's defense attorney, Ann Taylor, is still asking prosecutors for investigative reports and conclusions from all cell phone analysis that was done by the FBI CAST team to find the location of Koberger's phone. That information, as we've previously reported, was used in the probable cause affidavit to arrest Koberger and get several search warrants. Taylor also wants reports from the FBI forensic examiner related to the change in the year of the white Hyundai Elantra that they were looking for in their search for the suspect. She said prosecutors told her they'll give her some of that info, but they don't know when, so she asked the court to set a deadline.
And as the court is aware, the state has filed its notice of intent to seek death against Mr. Koberger. These are critical, relevant materials, all of them, including the police training records. They're necessary for us to prepare and present our defense of Mr. Koberger. They're necessary for us to do our investigation. They're necessary for us to prepare our case and our motion practice moving forward. These are things that we need to have. There is a heightened standard now that the state has filed its notice of intent to seek death, and these are very relevant, critical bits of information. They are discoverable, and we're asking the court to order that they be supplied to us.
So Ms. Taylor's correct. She has everything that the state has in our possession. And we have worked diligently and consistently in getting her all the information that we have in a quick fashion. To date, we have discovered approximately about 13,000 pages of reports, 13,000 photographs, over 10,000 tips, and over 51 terabytes of audio video information.
Yeah, a lot of evidence, the defense saying that they don't believe the prosecution is withholding this information. They believe they are providing it as soon as they can. But the judge did set a July 14th deadline for the federal government to provide all of that information. There might not be hearings on those other issues we talked about, the motion to release the grand jury transcripts and records, as well as that motion to stay proceedings, if attorneys can resolve all of these matters, again, as I mentioned, behind closed doors rather than out in a public courtroom setting, Doug.
And you mentioned the
terabytes. So what was being reported that the prosecution's not cooperating, the defense said they believe that the prosecution is getting the information to them as fast as they can, but they also have the federal government they're dealing with because this was a heavily investigated case by the FBI. Oh my gosh, it is raining memberships in here. Turn on your gifts. You don't ever want to miss a members live. Get in there. Turn on your gifts. Pat K said, I agree. He's loving this. Let me ask you guys, do you think Bushy's actually having a good time? Because for some reason, I think he's enjoying this game. I really do. Pat K, thank you for the super sticker, my friend. Thank you. This is our original member, Pat K. Has been a moderator for over 2 years now. Wow. We go way back, Pat. Thank you for all your support of the channel. Mermaid said yes. Mystic Rogue said yes. Absolutely. This is something he's really enjoying. So I'm going to go ahead and give you our surprise for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have a great discussion about the Idaho 4 with Jules of all trades. And it's going to be a great show. She has done extensive work on the Idaho 4 case. I love her coverage. We've been going back and forth all week. So that is the thumbnail. Look for it. And it's going to be awesome. Jules gifted a membership. I tell you what, it might be a drought everywhere else, but it's raining in here. All right, now let's get to a case that gets us steamed. We've done several shows about Alexee Trevizo. As you know, she put her baby, full-term, healthy baby, into a trash can at the hospital. A few months later, she went to prom with her baby daddy. Artesia Police Department is requesting the assistance of the FBI for the processing of DNA evidence from a homicide case to assist in the furtherance of the investigation. The case arose from an incident on January 27, 2023, within the city limits of Artesia. They want to find out who the baby's dad is. And I'm sure it's the boyfriend, but you never know. This is Alexee cheerleading with an obvious bump. This is not constipation. This is not scoliosis or anything that they're trying to say. This is a baby bump. Now, as you know, through our previous shows about Alexee, her mother is trying to steer the ship. And the officers keep saying, listen, she's of age. She's 19. We have to talk to her, not to you. And last night on Court TV, and again, we're going to do a complete show about this. Don't think I'm cheating and putting everything into one show. This is just how we end our week sometimes. Her attorney was on Court TV last night, and I think Extra AF is about to lose her mind. I'm mad about it too. Let's start with the phone call and listen to her mother's attitude to the detective.
Hello?
Hi, Miss Rodriguez?
Yes, sir?
Hi, this is Detective Gonzalez, Artesia Police Department.
Who is this?
Detective Gonzalez, Artesia Police Department?
Yes, sir.
Hi. I'm calling you today because I tried to get a hold of Alexee at school.
Why would you go to school? Why wouldn't you come here to my house?
Well, because you told me that I need to speak with a lawyer before you talk to me. But I need to hear that from Alexee first. Would she be willing to just tell me that in person at your house?
Okay, why? What? Yeah, I'll have her tell you. So you're only going to talk to him with the lawyer, President?
I need to hear it I have to be in person, man, so I know it's her.
Okay, this is about the 500th time this detective has told them, I can't deal with you, Mom. I have to deal with Alexee. She is an adult. You may not look at her as an adult. She had to ask you if she even had a social security number. She's a grown-ass woman. She's 19. When I was 19, I was working on baby number 2 in the oven. She's 19. Just because she's still in school doesn't mean that she doesn't understand what she did. She jumped right back in the bed after giving birth to a full-term baby. Cat's Eye said, did they confirm baby took a breath or did I dream it? According to Alexee, it didn't cry. Nothing happened. Nothing was crying, she said. They also named the baby Alex after her. I get really tired of the disrespect. You don't name the baby after the woman that murdered it. And according to the autopsy, the baby was full term, healthy, had air in his lungs, air in his belly, and was not stillborn. Again, listen to the mom. I need to quit hating on the mom so much, but it's impossible.
Alexee first. Would she be willing to just tell me that in person at your house?
Okay, why? What? Yeah, I'll have her tell you. So you're only going to talk to him with the lawyer, President?
I need to hear it I have to be in person, man, so I know it's her.
Hello?
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 Hi, this is Detective Gonzalez.
Okay.
Hi, is this Alexee?
Yeah.
Hi, ma'am. I just need to meet you in person. I know your mom told me for you that you would only talk with a lawyer present. I just need to hear that in person, okay?
Well, I will only talk with the lawyer present.
I just have to hear that in person, okay? When would be a good time to meet you to tell me that in person?
You can come to my house right now, Detective Gonzalez, if you want to. I'm here and she's here.
Okay, that'll work. I'll head that way then.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Still not getting it. You can come to our house right now. Right now. I'm here and she's here. Okay, I'll head that way. But for the millionth time, you are not a part of this. She's an adult. I have to talk to her. And as you remember from the show, I don't know if it was Monday or Tuesday, you clearly see once again a defiant mother when they showed up with an arrest warrant and a probable cause to arrest her for what? Okay, murder, tampering with evidence because she put her baby in the trash can. She goes, tampering with evidence? You mean at the hospital? Woo! Our girl Tiffany, who is recovering from her surgery that scared us all very badly, said she thinks she's gonna run shit. Nope. She's not running nothing. State of New Mexico is running this. Now the FBI is involved. Nothing she can do. But they do have an attorney. Now, I heard he was a public defender, but I'm also hearing that when she had her hearing, she already had an attorney. The mom was calling the attorney when they came to arrest her. Also, she bonded out on $100,000. So I'm going to assume someone put up $10,000 in collateral. I haven't seen the reports, so I don't know. Listen to the attorney.
Okay, Alexee Trevizo under arrest. So what's her story? What's her defense? Let's find out. Joining us from Ruidoso, New Mexico, Alexee Trevizo's defense attorney, Gary Mitchell is with us. Gary, thanks so much for joining us. Really do appreciate it. I want to start. The first question, is Alexee in custody? Is she out on bond? What's her status right now?
She's out of custody under certain restrictions of the court, and we're honoring those, of course, but she's out.
And how would you describe her state of mind these days?
About as horrific as you can get, meaning that the harassment never stops. The constant calls to her home, which we've had to change numbers to avoid. Obviously, there's no social media because that is vicious. And she lives a pretty Spartan life right now.
Well, that's what happens when you murder a baby, Crypt Keeper. That's what happens. My goodness. He needs some iron. The hell's going on? That is what happens. And she's supposedly in Texas with her biological father.
She's trying to get ready for college, but on the other hand, she can have no contact with witnesses, can't talk about the case with anybody but with me and, of course, my investigators. And so it's a bit difficult for somebody that just graduated from high school and is 19 years of age.
So let's start here. She goes to the hospital. My understanding and the reporting that I've heard is always that she was having back pain. At what point do the people at the hospital, the staff, whether it's a doctor, a nurse, or someone, when do they figure out that she's pregnant?
At 51 minutes after midnight, they know she's pregnant because they ran the blood test and they came back. Now, they didn't tell her that she was pregnant. They didn't tell her for another 48 minutes. Well, they never told her. She learned that she was pregnant when she went to the bathroom. And by the way, a fact that's critical in this case is that they began administering morphine, a painkiller, and other painkillers to her for her low back pain and abdominal pain within 28 minutes after she was in the hospital.
By the way, morphine, Demerol, there are many painkillers that they give to women that are in labor. Okay, that are in labor. I know what he's trying to say. And she didn't know she was pregnant till she went to the bathroom. Well, when a baby comes out of you, you don't run back to the bed and jump in and act like nothing happened.
And then they didn't stop administering that, even though they knew that she was pregnant, and they were administering that through an IV. So this child was born having an extensive amount of morphine in his system, the fetus was. So we know that from the toxicology reports and the autopsy.
So if 1251, they determine that she's pregnant. How about being in labor? Like, I know labor can be quick sometimes, but at what point is she in labor, and how on earth in such a short time from being in a hospital bed with staff and everything else is she delivering a child in the bathroom?
Well, 48 minutes after they knew that she was pregnant, she tells the nurse she has to go to the bathroom really bad. And so they go in and they take the IV out of her arm. Now, keep in mind, they didn't even have her dressed out. She wasn't in a hospital gown. She's still wearing the clothes she came in the hospital on, except her shoes are off. And so they unhook the IV from her, and she runs down the hall. You show that to your viewers.
She did. She ran down the hall holding her butt because she knew a baby was about to come out of her. She did know that. She knew that she wasn't about to poop, okay? And she's in the hospital. That would have been a good time to say, there's something going on down there. And this calling a full-term 7-pound baby a fetus is disgusting. I saw a comment saying it's a blood clot. Wait, a blood clot? No, it's a clump of cells. It's a baby. A baby.
Sometimes, but at what point is she in labor, and how on earth in such a short time from being in a hospital bed with staff and everything else is she delivering a child in the bathroom?
Well, 48 minutes after they knew that she was pregnant, she tells the nurse she has to go to the bathroom really bad. And so they go in and they take the IV out of her arm. Now, keep in mind, they didn't even have her dressed out. She wasn't in a hospital gown. She's still wearing the clothes she came in the hospital on, except her shoes are off. And so they unhook the IV from her, and she runs down the hall. You showed that to your viewers a few minutes ago. She runs down the hall to the bathroom where she has a baby and delivers the baby into the commode, and along with the placenta and everything else that goes on. So she was totally unaware of it until she delivered the baby into the commode.
Now, I don't want to be too graphic here, but we already heard Dawn arguing with Prayer Garden. Have you thought maybe the baby stayed in the commode that has water in it while she cleaned herself up? That might be how he suffocated.
And she thought she had to go to the bathroom. There's no question about that.
So you're telling me that they did the test, and have they conceded that they knew she was pregnant at that point, or are you going by the timeline of the records that you've gotten so far?
No, they conceded that at the hearing that we had, and they've conceded that they had their computers on their desktops. That lab report was made to them at 51 minutes after midnight. It flashed across the screens to the doctor, to the charge nurse, to the nurse that was taking care of her, and to the nurse's station. And they weren't busy that night. It's not like this was a emergency room in a major city with lots of people running in and out. They were just all sitting around the nurse's station, and they came across the computer. So they knew. They knew when they went in, they knew at the time that they were giving her the morphine that she was
And
pregnant.
at the time that they're unhooking her and allowing her to go to the bathroom by herself, like, wouldn't there be an indication that she would, or a test or something, figure out is she in labor or not? And she's not told either. And the mother's not told, the grandmother of the baby, her mom?
No, they're not. None of them are told. And the fact of the matter is, there are 2 cardinal rules in an emergency room whenever you have a woman of childbearing age come into your emergency room complaining of low back pain and abdominal pain. Number 1, she's pregnant until proven otherwise, no matter what she may think, because 1 in 2,500 in what we call cryptic pregnancies, 1 in 2,500 women do not know they're pregnant till they deliver. It's an alarming statistic, but it's also a pretty factual statistic. 1 in 400 to 500 women do not know that they're 20 weeks pregnant until after 20 weeks have passed. So not unusual, especially for teenage girls. So we have that situation here. That's the number 1 cardinal rule. The second cardinal rule is a woman of childbearing age in a hospital, and you know that she's pregnant. It says that she has to go to the bathroom because she feels like she has to defecate. You better take a good hard look and make sure she's not crowning and about to give birth, which was exactly what happened here. And they never checked.
So from your perspective, how and why did this baby die?
Well, we're still looking into that. Several experts are looking into that, including forensic pathologists, a number of doctors. More likely than not, the child may have taken a breath or two, according to the Office of the Medical Investigator, but the morphine was a critical problem for this child. And we're not even sure that the autopsy is correct.
I don't want to get into anyone's personal business, but for those of you that have given birth, were you administered pain medication? Not everyone gets an epidural. I couldn't take an epidural. I had Demerol, morphine, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful, especially when my sons were coming out. My second son, I couldn't have anything because it was so fast. Pat Case says yes. He had air in his lungs. He had air in his tummy. Liplock said I had Demerol. Tallulah said both times. Yeah. I mean, sometimes the drugs are better than the sex that got you there, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, he's the defense attorney, okay? He is going to find anything he can to raise doubt with a juror.
Other doctors disagree with that. And so we think the child was not born alive, certainly did not breathe properly. I mean, it had 14 milligrams of morphine per milliliter in its body. That's a horrible thing, and that's really causes major breathing problems, along with some of the other drugs that had been given to her because of her low back pain. Even though halfway through they knew she was pregnant, they continued to give it to her. So there's all sorts of issues in that regard. The bottom line is, she and the testimony is pretty clear. We know that the child was not alive, that she tried to help clean up after herself. She had never been in a hospital room before and didn't know anything about pushing buzzers or cords. This was in a public bathroom in the ER. This wasn't a patient bathroom. This is a public bathroom in the ER. This is also a situation where she obviously had never had a baby before. She's the youngest in the family, so she hadn't been around when anybody else in the family had had a baby. And she had never had a vaginal examination ever in her life, and was totally unaware. and had been taking birth control, and she and her boyfriend had used birth control. And she had been working out 2 to 4 hours a night for 6 nights out of the week for months. So she never thought that she was pregnant. It came as a total shock and surprise to her.
Gary, here's the part, though, and you know the part that really people are like, come on, you're in a hospital. At the moment you realize there's a baby, there's a human coming out, why does she not ask for help, scream for help, for her mom, for a nurse, for anyone to come there? Because, you know, all the people that are upset because, I mean, this is like you're at an actual hospital. If the baby had any chance to survive, at the moment, if she just asked for help, it was there.
Well, and here's the problem. Total shock. We lawyers that have been particularly handling homicide cases most of our careers, like I have, understand that people are totally shocked by certain events. Certain people react differently to others. And she is just, you have to understand, here's a woman that has a baby and all that goes with it. Having a baby is not like you see on television where it's this perfect scene. This is a major issue. She's bleeding profusely. She has a placenta as well. And all of this is in the bathroom where she has no help and didn't realize that that there was a buzzer or a cord there that you buzzed for the nurses. I mean,
it was right in front of the toilet as she was having the baby. She knew a child was coming out of her. She knew that. She knew it. And she hid it and went back to the bed. I'm a virgin, Mommy.
And this is a total shock to this young woman. And that's the big issue here. And I understand people saying, well, she knew or she didn't know, and she should have called for help. But that's not the situation that you find yourself in. You just, all of a sudden, you have a baby, then the baby is not alive, and that creates problems in and of itself when you've just given birth to a baby and the baby is not alive. And that creates other problems for you. And what do I do now?
And what do I do now? She went back to the bed, and he's acting like the hospital didn't do anything to try to save her. They life flighted her to another hospital because of her bleeding. Guess what? She would have been fine right there in the hospital. They could have delivered the baby. She left the baby in the trash can. She went and hopped back in the bed, thinking she was just going to go home and nobody would ever know. It's infuriating. Breema G, you're right. What about after having the baby? You're telling me she couldn't open the door and yell for help? I'd love to know what she was biting on to keep from making noise, because we know it hurts. We know it hurts. Now, this is what happened. When an officer spoke to her mother afterward. They'd already been confronted. At this point, everybody knows. This is what she's concerned about. All right? This gets my blood pressure going, guys.
Ms. Rodriguez? Yes. At the hospital. You've been talking to my supervisor.
Yes,
Okay.
Sergeant Chris. Yes. Will it
And-
be you guys tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. I told him at 10 o'clock you could come over.
Okay.
Okay. You and your CYFD person.
Yes.
I'm better. It's
Okay.
just her, but you know.
So have you, are you family?
Yes, this is her sister. This is
Okay.
my daughter.
I just didn't want to talk about anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you thought about therapy for her?
Not yet, but I was gonna look into it. I was gonna look on the back of the insurance card. They told me there were some numbers on the back.
Yeah, so that's how you go through our
Oh, okay.
your insured providers. Just FYI, for us, we have PMS here in town. They're the ones that most people are insured through.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
if you want to do in town, we do PMS here, and then we have one in Carlsbad, 2 in Roswell.
Okay.
That are usually on all of everybody's insurance.
Okay.
Something to
Did
think
you
about.
hear about like HIPAA was broke and there's like a whole bunch of rumors out? Some
I heard there was
nurses,
rumors through the high school.
Yeah.
The nurses do talk, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
When someone is accused of murder, there's no HIPAA. Hello, Glenn. There's no HIPAA. You're not protected by HIPAA when you put a baby in the trash.
That's just small town stuff.
But that shouldn't have happened.
It shouldn't
That's why
have.
it's HIPAA.
And
you
I know. Well, and because I was reading on that and like on Facebook, everyone's doing all that stuff. Because we did do a disclosure, and that was through our person of contact. That's our PSU command supervisor. So he did do one. He didn't put any name in it or anything like that. And that's just something he did because he was being asked about it for so long.
Okay.
So that one was done, but then I hear like the high school's talking a lot.
Yeah. I had teachers message me and everything. So.
Really? So everyone already knows.
Yeah. That's the bad thing about a small town.
Yeah, that is the best thing about a small town. But like I said, but more importantly, I talked to insurance about therapy.
Yes. And I am going to keep her home for about a week, and I am going to look for like therapy for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to do all of that as much as I can today and tomorrow. So
Well, appreciate it.
Yeah.
At least you're actually a parent that cares.
I love my daughter. She's my everything. But yeah, you guys can come over to.
I love my daughter. She's my everything. As she looks at the daughter behind her that doesn't look too happy to be there and isn't as well taken care of as Alexee. Obviously, Alexee is Mama's favorite. No questions about the baby, nothing.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll be there.
We'll
It has
contact
a red roof.
We'll contact you before, make sure it's still okay.
Yeah.
We do that all just
Okay.
before, so that way you're not like forget about it. Some
Yeah.
people do.
No, I won't forget about it.
Okay.
We will be there.
Well, you have my number. The supervisor we
Yes.
talked to is Sergeant Perez. He's
Yes,
also
I've
you
been
have his
talking
number.
to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been keeping in contact. So.
All right.
Yeah. Also, do you know like when anything about the autopsy, how fast? And
We
nothing?
asked to expedite it. I still haven't heard a word back. So it did happen on Saturday, but from
Yeah.
speaking with Wiedemann, the OMI person assigned to the case, he said we're not hearing anything yet. So he told me as soon as we find out, or as he finds out, he'll let me find out.
Are we getting him back? Did you know? We are getting him back, right?
You will, yes.
Okay.
And that's why I was telling y'all at the beginning that, with like names, stuff like that, and then who you want, like Turpin's son, who do you want to do end of life care with?
Okay. When do you think would?
I don't know. That's not up to
When
me.
do you want? Okay. Okay.
So you know how so with it being tricky because technically you're not next to him, it'll be your daughter. Y'all would still be contacted with it because they'd have to find out where y'all want him to be transported to. Because some people picked him up from Albuquerque, because it's free of charge whenever they go from here to Albuquerque.
Okay.
And so it's free of charge coming back, but some people want to do, like with just other cases, they'll do it in Albuquerque because it's cheaper to cremate, stuff like that there. They have to get a hold of you first to get, they have to get a hold of her first to let them know what they want to do next. So they'll get a hold of you as soon as they're done with him. I don't know what's taking so long. Usually they don't.
Okay. No, we haven't even really, we've tried to talk about that, but she didn't know. She don't know.
Well, in town we have turpentine. Roswell has way more options for like mortician stuff like that. Because you have to talk about, do you want to do cremation? Do you want to do burial? Stuff like that.
Okay.
And so that's because she is of age, so she would be having to be the one to sign off on everything. Because and I don't know y'all's financial situation, but y'all guys may be able to pay for it, but she still has to be the one to sign off on stuff with how that goes. Because with OMI and stuff like that, it has to be who's immediately next. Okay, so it's one of those that they will get a hold of her, and with that, something you and her would talk about what you guys want to do, and him,
Yes. Okay.
and keep that involved.
Okay. We
But
will.
it's one of those things you always all have to mesh out.
Yeah. Okay. We will do
All
that.
right, we'll get it.
But thank you so much.
Get a hold of you tomorrow. Make
Okay.
sure. All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you,
I'll
ma'am.
see you tomorrow. Bye.
Whatever makes it easier for mom, she just wants this to go away. It's maddening. It is maddening. There is so much wrong with this situation. I can't wrap my head around it. The disregard for human life, the lies. Anytime there's a crime within a family, we know there's dysfunction. We know there's toxicity. We know there's problems at home. But the law doesn't care. They don't care who didn't get a new bicycle when they were 13. They don't care about how well mom and dad got along. They don't care about feelings. They care about the law. And the law says, you don't kill. You don't do it. It was obvious she was pregnant. It was obvious. Now, I don't know about you guys. A lot of people have an issue with her going to the bathroom by herself. But anytime I've been in the hospital, unless I couldn't physically do it, I've gone to the bathroom by myself. I've been left unattended in the room. I've taken my whole IV pole and gone to the bathroom. If you want to catch it, you can catch some of the other stuff that mom has done on the last show. I really don't want to go into her record too much, but this is just ridiculous. And this attorney, I mean, he's doing what attorneys do. She's going to get her due process. I mean, she's free as a lark. She doesn't have ankle monitoring. She was allowed to go be with family in Texas, which, from what I'm understanding, is her father. It's a lot. It's a lot. But we're going to have a complete show, another one, about Alexee next week. Maybe over the weekend. I don't know. All right, so now we get to Delphi. We had a big show about Delphi this week. Richard Allen has confessed in recorded phone calls to his mother and his wife that he indeed did kill Abby and Libby. A lot of documents came out this week, and they're jarring, to say the least. Let's go back to the beginning of the Delphi case.
From Channel 13,
we have nobody in custody at this time. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, there is somebody out there that did this horrendous crime, and we're going to track him down.
State police talking about the fear and concern in a small town community after they announced that 2 missing girls were in fact victims of murder.
Investigators solemnly identified the 2 bodies found in Carroll County as 13-year-olds Libby German and Abby Williams. Now, we still don't know what happened to them after they disappeared during an afternoon hiking trip.
Eyewitness News reporter Rich Van Wyk begins our team coverage tonight, first with an update on the investigation. Rich?
Anne Marie, the autopsies confirmed identities, but how these children were killed, the circumstances surrounding their death, police aren't talking about that. They say they don't want to say anything that could jeopardize this double homicide investigation. For the second day, local, state, and federal investigators scoured over the crime scene. Early afternoon, divers joined the search for clues that could lead detectives to the girl's killer. The autopsies confirmed what everyone, including the teens' families, suspected and feared.
I think they were in pretty much belief that it was their children. But when you hear it from an official, it's still a little it hits home twice.
One of the hundreds of volunteer searchers found the bodies of Libby German and Abby Williams in a wooded area near Deer Creek. It is an area accessible only by foot or on horse. Well off the popular trails the 13-year-olds were hiking. Dozens of police are now checking hundreds of leads.
We are using resources from all the way from Lowell, Fort Wayne, and the southern part of the state's police, state troopers, we will stay on the job until it is done.
Police say they have no suspects or persons of interest. They're asking anyone who was in the hiking area, who saw something or heard something or took any pictures, contact them.
Should people in this community be concerned about someone running around targeting kids?
My response is no. I feel safe for this community.
Libby and Abby, teens teachers describe as happy and go lucky, attended Delphi's middle school. Crisis teams were ready for students and teachers when they arrived at all the district schools.
They're just asking those questions right now of, oh my gosh, it hit me, and somebody's there for them.
The double homicide has prompted one of the largest investigations some officers say they've ever been part of.
So as far as I'm concerned, yes, there is somebody out there that did this horrendous crime, and we're going to track him down.
Also, police say there is someone out there who probably saw something, was on the trails, was driving that part of the country just east of Delphi. They may have seen someone, they may have seen a car that perhaps looked out of place, and that's why police want that person to call them. Back to you.
Oh, they did. Oh, they did. They interviewed Richard Allen. He was at press conferences. We reviewed the New Direction press conference yesterday, where the top cop in Indiana, Doug Carter, said he might be in this room. He followed this case. He put the flyer up, his own sketch, at the CVS he worked at. The trial starts in January of 2024. Now, him confessing to his wife and mother, he needs to get with his attorney and confess to the DA and get something worked out. That might be a better way to do it, but it is recorded and they do know that he has confessed. He took a pair of underwear. He took a sock. He had a gun. Had a knife.
Nearly 120 documents reveal new details in the state's case against the suspect, Richard Allen. Allen is accused of killing Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi in 2017. We now know investigators believe a knife was used in those murders. CBS 4's Max Lewis has been pouring through the documents since we received them just a few hours ago. He joins us in the studio with what we've learned. Max.
Yeah, Bob, this is a look at all of the documents that we received today and we are going through right now. As we have previously reported, Richard Allen was interviewed by a DNR.
Vincent, I don't know who you are. You're telling me to turn off subscriber only mode? You shouldn't come into any channel and chat with people if you don't subscribe to the channel. You should at least be subscribed. I can turn on members only right now if I want to. You're out of your mind. This is my channel, not yours, Vincent.
Officer the day Libby German and Abby Williams were murdered. He told them he was on the Monon High Bridge that day, but that interview went nowhere until it was re-examined in September of last year. Now, shortly after that interview resurfaced, investigators interviewed both Allen and his wife. Following that interview, they applied for a search warrant for Allen's home. Now, this is one of these new documents that we got today, that search warrant. And according to that, they seized a handgun and several bullet cartridges. You may remember investigators claimed that a bullet found between the girls' bodies had been cycled through Richard Allen's gun. Also in that warrant, they seized 13 different knives along with shoes, several pieces of clothing, numerous electronic devices, as well as a piece of carpet that was cut from his car. Now, the warrant revealed another disturbing detail about the crime scene. It was that a pair of the girls' underwear and a sock were missing from that scene. Based on the logs of evidence that we got today, those items were not found in Allen's home. Now, the other thing that really sticks out in these documents is that back in April, Richard Allen called his wife from prison and admitted several times that he killed Abby and Libby. That confession was brought up at Alan's last court hearing, and it happened right around the time that his defense attorneys claimed that his mental health was declining and then he needed to be moved out of the Westville Correctional Facility. So as you can see in this stack, Bob, a lot of documents. There may have been 118 documents, but each of those had multiple pages, some to it. So we're still going through that. Our team's going through it, and we're still sort of searching through it.
We're still just scratching the surface of this story, but again, we are learning more about the prison conditions where Richard Allen is being held tonight.
Okay, this is a big, big thing. A lot of people are saying it's his mental status, it's his declining health, that he confessed this to his mom and his wife. Do you think maybe the declining health is the reason that he confessed, because he wants to clear his conscience to people that he trusts and loves? Maybe, I don't know. Doug Carter even said himself, I think you still have a conscience. That was at the New Direction press conference. It is odd that you put someone in prison instead of county jail awaiting trial, but I don't know. They moved him to a lot of different places for his own protection. And no, jail's not nice. Yes, prisoners write letters all the time about how they're treated in jail. Do the crime, do the time.
Yeah, that is included in some of this, including a letter from an inmate, a fellow inmate of his, claiming that guards were calling him a kid killer. There's some other things in here talking about after he made that confession that we just talked about, that he was eating documents that his lawyers were sending him. He was refusing to eat normal food, refusing to sleep. We're going through a lot of that, and we're going to have more about that coming up later at 6.
All right, we'll look for you then. Thank you.
Nope, his wife, after the confession in April, was actually in court on June 15th. The only thing I know about his motive is when he, not him, but another person that could be connected to him, was confronted saying, your Dropbox has opened up the biggest ped ring in Indiana they'd seen. It's just too coincidental for me that he happens to be on the bridge with a gun and a knife, happens to come across Abby and Libby at the same time that they were there, and they had been communicating, or Libby had been, with the Anthony Schatz profile. So if you didn't catch the show yesterday, catch it. We went through a lot of stuff. And a lot of people in chat yesterday want to do a show exclusively about Tony Klein and his son, Kegan, who is in jail. Jules said, paper eater. Yeah. When he gets a document, he sits there and eats it like an idiot. Who the hell's going to sit there and eat paper? Gotta be kidding me. All right, so I almost wasn't going to get into this, but I know there's been a lot of talk in the Facebook group. Several people have emailed me and messaged me about the Scott Peterson verdict out of Florida. He is the officer that was accused of not responding when the Parkland shooting happened. First, we're going to look at the surveillance of him. What do you guys think about the verdict yesterday? The jury came back not guilty.
These.
Okay. Vincent, you're going to have to learn to get along. No, there's no sound to it. It's just surveillance. I'm not going to turn off subscribers only mode, Vincent. You're not obviously here for the right reasons. Now, there have been firemen who have gone to fires that couldn't get in or wouldn't go in. There have been soldiers that have not gone over the hill. They have froze. There are a lot of instances that even though it's your job and you're sworn to an oath, you can't do it. This man's been through hell for years. And I'm really tired of these politicians taking pure tragedies and politicizing them. Obviously, the families of the victims are feeling a certain type of way, but there were other officers there who could not get to the shooter.
Okay, the verdict forms are complete. I will now publish them. They read as follows. In the Circuit Court of the 17th Judicial Circuit in and for Broward County, Florida, case number 19-7166 CF10A, State of Florida plaintiff versus Scott Peterson defendant, verdict, count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 3. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 4. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 5. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 6. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 7. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 8. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 9. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 10. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Verdict, count 11. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all this 29th day of June 2023 at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to address you only by the numbers that are on the back of your badges. Juror number 1, are these your true verdicts? Juror number 2, are these your true verdicts? Yes. Juror number 4, are these your true verdicts? Yes. Juror number 5, are these your true verdicts? Yes. Juror number 6, are these your true verdicts? Yes. Juror number 7, are these your true verdicts? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. It will be up to each of you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to again give you my sincere thanks for your time, effort, and energy. 99% of the citizens that live in Broward County, a county of 2 million, have no idea what happens when you're actually selected on a jury and you actually serve through the process. But now you all know. And I know most people don't say thank you, but I will say thank you because I know the time, effort, and energy that went into this. I have a thank you letter and a certificate. I'm going to give that to the court deputy who's going to pass that out when they walk you out.
A thank you letter and a certificate. I love that on every trial we watch. A thank you letter and a certificate. You know, he's a school resource officer. He's not a police officer. I hope I'm saying that right from everything I've been reading. There's a certain protocol, and he was following it. Now let's get to his speech after it. There's a difference between a safety patrolman, okay, and an actual trained policeman. And what they did to this man with a small clip of CCTV ruined his life. He is not a police officer. He's not a police officer. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. And also, you could see him trying to figure out where the gunshots were coming from. That's what he was trying to do. He's not trained. That would be like me with a gun at the school. I wouldn't know where they're coming from. I'm not trained like that. He's like a mall cop. And his attorney, Mark Iglarsh, I might be saying it wrong, is a very high profile attorney in Florida. I don't know how he afforded him or if Mark, did it for free. I don't know if he did it pro bono, but his attorney is no joke. I about shit the bed when I saw who his attorney was.
Scott, talk to us about how emotional this is for you. What's going through your mind right now in your heart?
Got my life back. We've got our life back after 4.5 years. 5.5. Because of Mark. Yep. And being able to put the truth out of what happened. It's been an emotional roller coaster for so long. Endless nights. Talking to Mark 1 a.m, trying to understand and learn this whole case. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. But don't anybody ever forget this was a massacre on February 14th. The only person to blame was that monster. It wasn't any law enforcement. Nobody on that scene from BSO, Coral Springs. Everybody did the best they could. We did the best we could with the information we had. And God knows we wish we had more.
What do you say to the family, Scott? I know it's emotional for them today, too. But this obviously isn't the outcome they wanted. Do you have any response to?
You know what I tell the families? I would love to talk to them. I have no problem calling Mark, saying, hey, we want to talk. We'd like to know everything. I'm there. I would have been there from day one. So I'll always be there. If they need to really know the truth of what occurred, and not only my actions, but what occurred, I'm there for them. Me and Lydia, we've mourned with them for 4.5 years. I've seen some of these family members, and I'd love to went over to them and hugged them and said, God, I'm sorry. But, I know that's maybe not what they're feeling at this point. Maybe now, maybe they'll get a little understanding, but I'll be there for them. I'll be there for them. How could I not?
What about the prosecution? What do you say to the prosecutors who brought this?
I'll let Mark talk about that.
We are extremely pleased with the outcome today. But understand something, this is not just a victory for Scott. It's a victory for every law enforcement officer in this country who does the best they can every single day. How dare prosecutors try to second guess the actions of honorable, decent police officers?
Lydia, do you have something to say? Through this journey, Scott is my life, my heart, my soul, and people could never understand how he's doing it. And it's simple. The Lord is my rock and my strength. And faith, you walk by faith and you never, ever, ever give up.
It's extremely important to understand how we got here. Former Sheriff Scott Israel held a press conference without ever speaking to my client about what happened. From that, every one of us erroneously assumed that my client knew that kids were being killed in that building and he just didn't go in. Well, these jurors made it clear through their verdict that couldn't be further from the truth. He did everything he could. And as a result of Sheriff Scott Israel's reckless, selfish political actions, he had to endure 4 years. 4 years of heartache and misery. No one should ever have to go through that.
Scott, what's next for you? Going home to North Carolina, I imagine. What's next?
I'm first going to go, everybody who's in Broward County and South Florida who supported me. I'm going to everyone's house. For the last 4 years, it's been saying, Scott, hang in there. I'm giving everybody a hug, the biggest hug I can give. And then I'm going back home, going back to the mountains.
And then we're going to the Vatican.
Yeah.
Tonight we're celebrating.
Yep.
We're celebrating my house, not just a victory for Scott, but the victory for all law enforcement officers.
Amen.
And that the system worked. It took a while. It was rough. It was not easy. But eventually, these jurors got it right. And so the system works, and we should all feel good that if you're falsely accused, eventually, at least in this instance, they will get it right. They will make it right.
Thank you, jurors.
Mr. Peterson, you didn't take the stand, and I know from speaking to you and Mark over the last 5 years that had to absolutely burn you alive. How did you convince him to not put you up there?
To be honest with you,
or how did he convince you?
It was just a lot of back and forth, and at the end of the day, Mark's my lawyer. And he knew what was best, and I was going to follow what Mark needed me to do.
When this case started, so that we're clear, he 100% wanted to take that stand. During this case, 100%, he needed to take that stand. That's what he was telling me. And I had to tell him no. They did not meet their burden, and they should never, ever look to him to prove the case. And I think that his words got out through the testimony. They knew his position. 2 days after this, he said, I didn't know where the shots were coming from. And they could never prove otherwise because he didn't.
Scott,
And that's the whole thing. He didn't know where the shots were coming from. What was clipped and put out in the media is not the full coverage. The trial is still on, I believe, Law and Crime and Court TV. If you want to go through it, when Mark Aguilar spoke, it's very chilling. And like he said to him, and as we know, it's up to the state to meet the burden of proof. Not for us to do it for them. So if he didn't know where the shots were coming from, and that's what he was trying to do was get reinforcements, that's what happened.
Our school resource officers right now at a national convention convening. They're paying attention to your case. What would you say to those officers who may have been nervously waiting along with you on the outpost?
I think they probably had a very legitimate concern because of this case regarding the issue with the caregivers, but to all school resource officers out there, SROs, we're police officers, and we're there at that school because we want to make a difference. We always have. That's why I had been a school resource officer for 28 years. Because you do, not only you know that you're a law enforcement officer, but you're there to make a difference. So for all these SROs, not only in the state of Florida, but nationally, maybe they can breathe easier knowing, God forbid, if they ever went through something like this, that hopefully the justice system, will prevail for them as well. But I would never want any any law enforcement officer in this country to go through the last 4.5 years of what I went through.
I think it's very important to focus on the prosecutor's office in this case. They had access to the same facts that these jurors did. Every single deposition that I attended, they attended. They knew the facts in this case, yet they persisted with this meritless prosecution. And so you got to ask yourselves, what's their motivation here? And if it's politics, which it clearly is, something needs to be done.
I wish people would start blaming the damn parents. I don't know what the hell is going on in this country. Everything is everybody else's fault. Nobody takes personal responsibility. I don't mean us around here. I don't mean you guys. I don't mean me. I don't mean OJ. Why don't you blame the damn parents? They knew he had problems. They knew something was going on in their own home. And they let it take out innocent lives. Gotta be kidding me. I'd start putting these damn parents in jail. It's getting damn ridiculous around here. It's the shooter's fault. That's it. He did this. And his parents knew he had problems. They knew it. All right, you guys want a feel-good story before I end? Anybody want a happy story before I end? It's a tearjerker. I think it's so good to end the week on a good note. I do. As you know, we talked earlier. Kenny Knacker says you're pregnant. If I was pregnant, I would call the National Enquirer and get like $1 million for my story. No. But we spoke many times about Alexee Trevizo. Okay. When somebody doesn't want their baby, there are other things to do. And one thing is to go to the fire station. I mean, Alexee was at the hospital. She could have handed the baby over to the nurse and said, I can't raise it. I'm ill-equipped. I can't do it. Well, in this situation, a woman put a baby in a safe haven box, and a firefighter that came across the baby, and his wife had been trying to have a baby for 10 years. And they adopted the baby. Get your tissues.
This one is a tearjerker about a firefighter and his wife. They adopted a baby who came to them in the most unexpected way. The man, who wishes to stay anonymous, woke up to an alarm at 2 a.m. It came from a Safe Haven baby box. Now, this is a box that allows someone to safely and anonymously surrender a child. When the firefighter opened the box, he discovered the baby girl wrapped in a pink blanket. Now, when he dropped her off at the hospital, he also left a note saying that he and his wife had been trying to have a baby for 10 years and were registered to adopt. They were given the green light and officially adopted the baby they called Zoe in April. He says, "We locked eyes and that was it. I've loved her ever since that moment." And that one made me tear up.
I know,
when
me
read
too.
it
It's
this
so
morning. Such a
sweet.
sweet story. Congratulations to them and for sharing that story with all of us.
Yeah, what a gift to them.
That is a total gift. We love a happy ending. We don't get near enough of them. Alexee could have handed her baby over to the nurse. She's an adult. Her mother is not privileged enough to know her personal business because she's 19. And she could have gone on with her life and nobody would have known. Nobody would have known. There are more good people than bad people. It's hard to believe with the shows that we do, but there truly are. And this story breaks my heart in a good way. In a good way. All right, you guys have a good rest of your Friday. I'm going to put something on the other channel. And don't forget, tomorrow we're going to have Jewels of All Trade on talking about the Idaho 4. You're not going to want to miss it. It's at 9 a.m. tomorrow on a Saturday. Yep, but that's when I had to catch her. She's a busy lady. Thank you, Mod Squad. Thank you, members. I'm even going to say thank you to Vincent because I'm in a good mood. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We have a busy week next week. So buckle up. I'll see you guys in Discord. I'll see you in the Facebook group. But please get ready for tomorrow's show. It's going to be a big one. You guys have a great rest of your day.